Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on a scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Win big this Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Tickets Wednesday. This week, Motley Crue with performances by Tesla and Extreme at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater, September 21st. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Get your tickets today and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. Question of the money. How close will the money match the standings? We're seeing multiple people come out trying to figure out the NIL numbers. Texas Tech, it does seem like most people think Texas Tech is right in that low to mid, however you describe it, $33 million range for NIL, and that puts them almost $10 million in front of everybody. Houston's $9 million behind. Everybody else is $10 million or more. Colorado and BYU on $23 million. TCU and Oklahoma State on $22. The Utes are at $21.9. Feel free to round them up, PK. Round them up. Your Devils are ninth at 21.5. There's actually a fair amount of congestion / compactness here with the other schools, with one notable exception, Texas Tech at the top. To answer the question, I don't think when you've got a 5 or 10% difference in NIL, that's going to really lock the standings in. Now you get $10 million clear of somebody. You got 50% more money than some teams or most teams. Yeah, Texas Tech, it ought to determine the standings. It ought to be up there at the top.
Yeah, but the problem here is if it grows 5 or 10% each year, then in 3 years it's 30% bigger. So it is a big deal right now. That's what Dillingham keeps talking about. It's not catching up, because if you catch up, you've fallen behind. So absolutely, it's a big deal today, because if the trend continues, then the gap will continue to widen by even more so. So you have to be concerned about it all the time, every day.
Well, you do have to be concerned about it every day if you fall behind.
But if you catch up, you're falling behind.
Don't you feel like Arizona State is pretty much in the middle? I mean, if you're talking about Texas Tech, absolutely.
Right.
Yes. I mean, Tech isn't 5 or 10% in front. Tech's got 50% on most of the league, right? 33, and most of the league would be at 20, is at 22-ish. So it's a massive concern with Texas Tech today. The rest of the league, I think, is pretty competitive.
It's a massive concern. Yeah, it's easy for you to say because you've got nothing at stake. But if you have something at stake and somebody's 5% ahead of you today, what's it going to be metaphorically tomorrow? Yeah. And then so forth and so on. So it is a major concern right now.
And you're 5% ahead of somebody else, but I don't think he thinks that means it'd be a guarantee.
You're not fighting. Hey, we're going to finish ninth. Bring it in. Family on 3. That's not the goal. So, again, it's way easy for you to say because you don't have to fight it. But if you have to fight it, it's a major obstacle every single day.
And we've seen this in a lot of professional sports where we see the numbers and the 5 or 10% can be overcome. And it is overcome on a regular basis.
Right.
And I get if he's out there and he wants to scream and he needs more money, and he's going to because it's going to go up. I mean, all these numbers.
All are.
Yeah, all these numbers are going to be bigger in 3 years. There's no doubt.
It's a major concern right now. Yeah. Because you're assuming that the folks who donated you to put you in 10th place are going to donate again. So that's a huge assumption.
I assume that they are going. Well, my assumption is that they go through their lists and they know that there are some people who are going to donate again and there's some people who aren't. And I think with each one of these schools, somebody might be like, hey, we're going to have to replace this $5 million in 3 years. And somebody else is like, we got to replace this $10 million in 3 years.
Sure.
And I'm sure
if it was available to be replaced, they'd have it now.
Yeah. And they don't know where they're going to get it.
Yeah, so that's a major concern.
I think the thing that isn't shown here, where the major concern is right now, is this league versus all the other leagues. Because I think the numbers would show that they're way behind. Because when you're recruiting against people in your league, but also outside your league, because so much of it is national. So ASU today not only could lose a player in a recruiting battle to Arizona or Utah or BYU, but USC and UCLA are coming in there. And if somebody's really good, you've listed all the kids who've gone to Texas schools. And so a lot of them aren't even on this list. And many of them are, if not with Texas Tech, they're in front of Texas Tech. So they're coming in after kids that Dillingham wants, builds a relationship with, and the kid blows up, and then he's off to somewhere
That's
outside
the same
the Big
thing
12.
as Scally and on everybody. It's not particular to one school. And I'm not really that concerned about the gap between them and the Big Ten and the SEC. Why be concerned about that?
Because you lost your quarterback to the SEC. Because you lost your run back to the SEC.
Sure. And that'll happen every year.
Because of that gap.
But you're not competing with Texas or LSU.
Right, but those players could have helped you beat, fill in the blank school. I mean, whoever's on your schedule that year.
Right, so then, both of those guys, you can't really whine about it because both of those guys, the quarterback and the running back, they were transfers in.
Of course you can whine about it.
So you just go get other people.
You don't get all excited because you got more money than fill in the blank school. You obsess about the schools.
Well,
one
was Michigan State, the other one was SC. So it's not just money.
No, they come for playing time or coaching or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. They all have their stories.
You can't sit there and complain, well, I lost these guys. Man, they're so just take the money and go and carpetbaggers because you took them into your program from other programs. So I'm not worried about that. And that's going to continue. That's going to always be out there. So they had no loyalty to your program in the first place. They just sought for them to have the better opportunity to get what they were looking for. And they got what they were looking for, and now they got more of what they're looking for. So I don't see where anybody has a leg to stand on that. If you bring in a transfer and then that player blows up and leaves, okay, isn't that what you want? Isn't that the Todd Phillips UVU thing? That means he played really well for you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have the money, that's the pitch. That's the story you need to tell. Everybody needs a story to tell in recruiting.
Yeah. So they lost him. One guy ran over 1,000 yards, and the other guy was a quarterback for the team that went to the playoff. I think you would take that every time, knowing that they're only going to be there for 1 or 2 years. Okay, that's just the way it is now, and there's no point in complaining about that. You benefited from the system. More so, if Leavitt brought them, in large part, not exclusively, a conference title. You would take that from they've got 2 transfers in right now. You would take that. They win in the next 2 years. One of them wins a conference title and then goes someplace else. You take that every time
in a heartbeat.
So that's not an issue. I don't think. Maybe that's the way I look at it. And then you just go get somebody else. But you're not competing with the SEC and the Big Ten. So why worry about that?
Because they'll take your guys. I mean, it's your story you tell us. It's the story you tell us about baseball where they can take your starter to go be their backup. I mean, I think it bugs people. I mean, is it your primary thing? No, because you're probably not going to go out there on a Saturday with the exception of, Utah's playing Arkansas. So, maybe you have one game. Or in the case of a lot of these teams, they're not playing any power league teams, so they're not going to lose to those teams. So while it's a problem in the offseason, you're right. Once you get into October, you're going to be worried about the teams in your league.
Yeah.
And Earl says Texas Tech is going to win because their money is much more than the rest. The others are close enough. It doesn't make an enormous difference. But that, I think,
that's so short-sighted. It's easy for Earl to say.
I think the thing it does is that because it makes every game competitive, and so you're not worried about it because you can win any game, but you're also worried about it because this is how a league ends up beating itself up. And that's the thing the Big 12 gets hit with. Yeah, you're competitive, but none of your teams are great. But when you haven't outspent people and the game's a slugfest every week, and okay, you figure out a way to win one, you figure out a way to win another, you figure out a way to win third, but when you drop that fourth game, now you're in trouble. Now it's like, okay, we can't have anything go wrong, or you're out. And you saw that. Utah got 2 losses, and they were out early, and everybody knew it, and they ended up having a great season and going 11-2. But there was no thought late in the season that somehow they might squeeze their way in, and you could just see it running out. Like, these other teams aren't going to lose, and the Utes are going to keep winning, and they can't get there. So
isn't that every
beat yourself
season?
up. It is in the Big 12 because the money's the same, and you have the same money, but that doesn't mean you go 4-4. You outsmart them. You go 6-2. You go 7-2, but you still need help.
Help for what?
To get into the conference title game. Does 7-2 get you in? Whereas if you've outspent the league, you can blow through some of these games and not worry about it so much. And we see it. We see leagues that are top heavy. The Big Ten is top heavy. The ACC is very top heavy. But where the money's the same, these teams beat each other up over the course of the year.
Every league is top heavy. Because every year you're going to have teams that separate, so that's always going to be that way.
I think you think so? With 4 teams, it's 7-2 in year one. You think they separated?
And then you got me on that.
Well, we've only had 2 years of this, so there's a year they separated. I mean, Utah, BYU, and Texas Tech separated last year. For sure.
So they were top heavy.
But nonetheless, even though the Utes were in the top group, they didn't really have a path in.
Well, sure they did. They lost to win the game, and you got a path.
But in the last month, that's the thing. You can beat each other up. And year one, they did. You're right. Year two, not so much. Those 3 against the rest of the league were brilliant. They lost when they played each other.
Okay, well, that's
I suspect there's going to be more of that.
How does that change from year to year? That very well could happen the next 25 years in a row. That's football. When you keep standings, that's what you got.
I think there's going to be more of beat each other up. And I think it's probably reflected because this money is so close.
It's close now. But yeah, okay.
Well, I'm talking about this season. You're
Me
right.
too.
If we get separation 3 years from now, I bet we see separation in the standings.
I think there's a couple of things here. Yeah. So they're going to beat each other up. Okay.
Oh, then it's a one playoff bid league,
Yeah.
and that frustrates people, especially because Texas Tech has run away with the money.
So if it gets 2 in, that solves all the problems, and you both get beat in the first round like they're going to more often than not?
It doesn't solve all the problems. It doesn't solve all the problems, but if you're the one who gets in as a second, it solves your problems. And right now, BYU and Utah look like they're in there.
For one season, it solves your problem. Then you go right back at it next year.
Yeah.
Does anybody think anybody from the Big 12 is going to win the national title? Because I sure as the heck don't.
No, but that's what I said earlier about you're worried about these other leagues that have pulled away from you. And it's
Why?
Because they're going to beat you in the playoffs with their more money.
No kidding. It's always been that way. The Buttes get to the Rose Bowl. They lose. This is not news. This is the way it is way more often than not. There's outliers out there.
And they want the outliers, and they want to change their position in the universe.
Great, and I want to be 6'2" with $5 million in the bank. Neither of them is going to happen.
But they have changed their position in the universe over time, so they figure there's hope.
Not
and
against
there's a chance.
Sure, you have all the Scally's up there saying, we can do it here. No, you can't. But he thinks he's going to say it because he's speaking to his people, and they're all riled up. And yeah, great. Have all the hope you want. Joe Glenn said to the students in the student union, we're going to go beat Utah.
Yeah,
and it got slaughtered.
He had to be held accountable.
Hope. That's sports. Yeah.
Yeah, but the hope paid off in 2004. It paid off in 2008. It paid off at the Rose Bowls.
It paid off in a row. They lost the Rose Bowls.
They won the Pac-12, and they went to the Rose Bowl, and that changed their place in the universe. And you're right. They lost the game, but they want to get
place,
back.
And
Yes.
then they're in a conference that you just told me is way far behind. I think they took a step down. They didn't improve themselves. They had nothing to do with it. It's not their fault. But they actually took a step down.
But
their place in the universe is reduced compared to where it was 4 years ago.
And Ute fans agree, and that's why they're not excited about the move to the Big 12.
They didn't take a step up.
But they think they can go take another step up.
They can think all they want. Great. Good for them. I got it. And let's do 2 bids. We got more spirit than you. Great. Fine.
All right. Don't go to the games. Never mind. You'll never get any better.
You take it to the extreme.
You're not taking it to the extreme.
I'm taking it to the realistic extreme. Yes. To me, it's not about winning and losing. So I've never said don't go to the games. Go tailgate with your family, with your friends. Don't let the score determine whether you had a good day. I've only said that 5 million times, and I'll say that forever. So I don't get caught up in the score. You can have great times. On November 7th, whoever wins that game is going to be flying high. They're going to love it. Those times don't go away just because you don't get to the playoff or just because you lose in the Rose Bowl. You've got those memories with your family and your friends that you spend all day with. That's what it's about to me. It's not about the score. I've never gotten into the score. It's about having a good time. So to accuse me of saying, oh, well, come on, you got no hope. No, the hope is in tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day. And I'm going to have a heck of a good time. And if the game doesn't end my way, well, that doesn't take away from the good time that I've had. Who screams that from the mountaintop louder than me?
And yet, thousands of fans go there, and the winning and losing. If they're losing big, they'll leave early.
And yet, that these teams have very little hope of winning the national title.
They do.
Right. So that's exactly what I'm saying.
But there's a chance. You can change your place in the universe. There was very little hope of going 13-0 and beating Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, and somehow they pulled it off.
Great. And that's a lifetime experience. Revel in that. I was there. I experienced it with them. I was at the Final Four. I experienced it with them. I was at the Fiesta Bowl. I experienced it with them. I was at the parade with them both years at the Rose Bowl. I experienced it with them. That's what I'm talking about. It's the experience of it, not some score by some 18 to 22 or 23-year-old that's going to determine it. I screamed that over and over again.
And that part is weird. And nonetheless, they need those 18 and 23-year-olds to beat USC and Oregon so they could go to the parade.
And have a phenomenal time while you're doing it. Absolutely.
I just remember doing radio before they got in the Pac-12, and I can remember David Locke saying if they get in, they're going to be at best like Cal and Oregon State and Washington State. And there were days that they took the beatings that Cal and Oregon State and Washington State took. But then there was a pretty good run of time where they were clearly much better than them.
What's
so
your
even
point?
though if it's hard to change your place in the universe, it can be done.
But they didn't get in the playoff. You're talking about the playoff. That was the big knock against the Pac-12. You didn't get multiple teams in.
Well, you didn't get any team in for a lot of years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if that's your standard of happiness or, oh, come on, PK, don't, you're just taking it to the extreme. So you either got that or this. Not for me. That's your sign. You assigned me that. No, for me, it's about the fun times along the way that you get to experience with your family and friends. That's what it's about. That's why you do it. You don't buy season tickets and spend all that money for hope to where we're going to go and win the national title when you had your athletic director for years telling you flat out, you have no chance. Why would you do that? Why would you buy season tickets back in you live in the past on this, you recite all this other stuff. Why they couldn't do it back then. Why would you buy season tickets? Well, because it's not about that. It's about the fun. It's the anticipation. It's about something to do that's wholesome with people, and there'll be exciting plays along the way. And maybe you don't get out on the top end of it one time, 2 times, 3 times. Okay, but then you go back and you had a bunch of fun times along the way. That's what it's about. That's the essence. That's the essence of life. Not worrying about, oh man, if we don't have one more point than them, my life is ruined. My day is ruined. The money I spent on this was wasted. Because more often than not, if that's going to be your standard, it's going to be wasted. Far more often than not.
Way more seasons without a conference title than seasons with a conference title. I just saw a list of the best teams in the last 50 years. You can tell we're in the dog days of camp. The best teams in the last 50 years without a national title. And there were some really good programs. The Utes were on the list. And
Now we're going back 75 years?
So no, they went back 50. It said in the last 50 years.
Can we look ahead?
And they were looking at it like you win a conference title maybe once every
Right. I was
7,
at the Vegas
10,
Bowl
12
last
years.
year. I ran into dozens and dozens and dozens of Ute fans. They had a great time. That's what it's about.
So do you think they'll have a great time even though Texas Tech is spending money and running away from the rest
I
of the
think they'll
league?
have great times this season. Absolutely do. I think they'll have great times this season. Yes, I do. I think they'll have several. They could have 9. If the final score is determined upon great times, if that's what equals great times, they'll have 9, 10, maybe 11 great times. Are they going to win the national title? No.
No, they're not.
But I don't care about that. I understand that. Texas Tech, Cody Campbell is going to be disappointed year after year after year. If that's what his goal is, and he can get there. Oregon, Oregon has been nothing but a loser program. Phil Knight has wasted all this money because they haven't won it all. But no, I've been to their stadium plenty of times when they're hooting and hollering and having a great time. That's what you have to look at. That's what you enjoy. I think the thing that makes it bad is what Kyle Whittingham said. He's been saying it, and I don't know if he says it now because he's got the money at Michigan, so he doesn't have to say it. But in the first years of NIL, there's going to come a time very soon where the top 25 correlates directly with the top 25 NIL budgets. It's not that way in professional sports, fortunately, or else professional sports would be a big turnoff. And college is now professional sports, but we still separated college and pro. If it's literally like that, if we get to December and that graphic that's there on Facebook, if it just correlates exactly to the standings and you have 5 years of that, that'll take a hit on the sport. People won't like that. If you have no chance because someone's spending X amount of money and you're spending less than that and you're spending the 5th most in the conference, so you finish in 5th place. If there literally is a direct line, that'll be a turnoff for people because then there is no hope. Give them hope. Scally gets up there and says, yeah, we can do it right here. Good for you, man. Say it. Say it all you want. Believe it to your very core and strive for it every single year. Maybe you'll get it. But I'm sitting over here. I'm a half-empty guy. Well, to me, you've got very little chance, as does most of those schools in the conference. Maybe Tech can rise above it. Maybe BYU can rise above it. But I'm going to lack faith on that. All I know is Texas Tech went and didn't even score a point against a team with a similar or bigger budget. Didn't score a point. And I'm supposed to think they've got a shot? Reality is they probably don't. Maybe they do. Good. I mean, I said it several years back. I wrote it on KSL about the Utes don't have any chance here. And it wasn't a shot against the Utes, but people took it as a shot against the Utes. And they came after me. One guy says, man, if they get in, I'm going to remind you every single day for the rest of my life.
You haven't heard from him again. Yeah, because you're right. That's an old story.
Right.
Yeah.
And did I take joy in saying it? No. I'm going to present the truth as I see it. And sometimes the truth, you're going to love it. And sometimes the truth, you're going to hate it. So what does that mean? Sometimes you're going to love me. And sometimes you're going to hate me. Because I'm going to present to you unfiltered as I see it.
The one potential hole in Kyle Whittingham's argument about the top 25 rankings matching the top 25 NIL budgets. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.